try to get as much information as you possibly can.
Right, exactly, and it looks like MP5 is going to try to play the edge game here. You can see here on the left side of your screen, C9 and Armory Gaming both making that long rotation that I was talking about. This is a relatively safe rotation if they don't run across a Freak of Freaks Fatal coming in. You can see Duckmans is up there.
They were over there next to Picado way off to the east a little while ago. How are these guys just keep rotating right next to each other? But we've got Incognito taking a couple of shots at Tripoli, makes his way up that hillside. I mean, that's the Bronco. That's essentially a tank on this map. It can just take so much damage.
Yeah, it's already smoking. It doesn't look like it's smoking too much. They took a little bit of damage there in transition. Profi trying to get some shots onto Armory Gaming, but he does not land any there. Armory still on the move here. Duckmans now, it looks like Armory Gaming might be setting up a pick here.
They're just playing leapfrog at this point. They move forward a little bit. One guy jumps out, takes a couple of shots. The other team hops in their vehicles, rotates up, and now has a couple of shots thrown their way. So here we go. We've got DMG taking the shots at Cloud9. We got Nerf that's going to go up around the other hillside, but a couple of different angles that we can see Armory Gaming taking the shots from. But now there's nobody around them. They make their way back to their vehicles and rinse, repeat.
Yeah, it's kind of the danger of setting up a pick outside of the circle. If you can rip the other team out of the vehicle, you know, that's free points for you basically. But if the other team gets ahead of you, that means they can play gatekeeper and prevent you from getting into the circle. So a little bit of a risk being taken here by Armory Gaming, and this is ENCE making their rotation.
Yeah, nothing too terribly crazy going on. We got Crystal Luster that's outside the blue zone right now, but they should be able to make their way up towards it. You can see a lot of teams not necessarily wanting to go up towards the north, really. It's just a little bit north of center, but with Crew de Val, we've got Terra Branca, all that other area, they're just like, nope, just please circle, don't go in that direction. But me, being who I am, that's where I want it to go. I want to see another messy rotation.
Yeah.
That always makes me happy.
I know it's kind of hard to rotate from the northern part of this map, coming down those lines.
Yeah.
It is a little more difficult, but there's just nobody up there. It's so safe. It feels like somebody should at least try it, and the circle just goes dead center.
Well, get ready for a very calm circle. Nobody's really going to have to move too much. Really, it's just the latecomers, and this is kind of the downside whenever you do play edge, and everything goes due center. Where do you go? They naturally don't necessarily know that the north is the most open spot to go through, but you have to make that assumption. Based off of the funneling points that come into play, we got Incognito, well, a couple of bullets coming his way from Rogi, but I think the Broncos should be able to speed up and finally get away from it, as it's going to be also OP Rangers taking a couple of shots. Incognito, Mental getting a nice shot there.
Yeah, Mental with a nice scar rip there. That's a pretty decent distance that he got that knock from, and the confirmed kill as well. Venerated here, taking some shots at Squeaky. Squeaky forced to get out of his vehicle, running up the hill. Looks like, ooh, Will he get over? He will make it. Venerated almost goes down himself.
Venerated wanted that. That was a little bit of vengeance back over towards Ince, but not going to get it as AHQ is going to take a couple of pot shots up on those high ground spots. We were talking about it. I've got Aerowolf on the other side of this, so that's really just going to force them down. That grenade could land back down over there. Nah, I think it's going to bounce off the other direction, so it should be fine. But Zero's not necessarily too happy down where he's at right now. Going to go ahead and throw out the smokes, maybe try to protect the vehicle a little bit.
That grenade really had a lot of rubber on it. It really bounced. I didn't think it would bounce quite that far. It almost landed there. All right, here come the Crusaders. Coming across a lot of fire. There are a lot of teams that are trying to rotate through 4 AM. Getting gripped by Purdy Curdy, but they were able to get out.
Got 4 AM with the rotation off over there. To have the shots come their way. That's one of the things I like about 4 AM. Whenever they have their shots come their way, they stop and they're like, did you just shoot at us? And they're going to look back over there. Cloud9 still with Armory Game. These guys have been doing this for a while. I mean, we talked about it beforehand. They'll hop in their vehicles, reposition, and it's just, again, there's no other way to describe it. It's like a leapfrog style situation, and they aren't afraid. They'll just stay right next to each other. But we got Ince taking a couple of shots back over towards several teams right now as they're kind of due up in the center of the circle.
Yeah, it looks like they've covered a lot of territory with a 1-3 split here. Mikaz up on the northern end to the west of Al-Azhar. Here comes Armory Gaming into the water treatment here, but they're going to have to go through because the circle's already moved, and they've still got C9 kind of with them. And Duckman, once again, wants to try to rip these C9 members out of the vehicle, but he can't get the shots.
Guys, I'm willing to bet you were all surprised that that happened there, that somebody stopped and was getting ready to take shots at each other between these two squads. I love how Cloud9, we saw Profi just a second ago in the interview being like, oh yeah, you know, there's other North American teams that are more aggressive than us, and they have been fighting this team for like the past 5 minutes.
Yeah, this team from Thailand proving to be way more aggressive than probably anything they're quite used to, and they really want these kills, but right now Armory Gaming just can't seem to quite land anything.
And they're going to end up over here next to MP5 potentially, so going to have to see how that goes. So Incognito taking a couple of shots back over towards Brazilian Crusaders. The Brazilian Crusaders does get dropped by wwe-raw, which is one of the funnest names to say.
It's the best. It's the best name in this tournament. wwe-raw, just so funny.
Brazilian Crusaders, they were the first team to go out in that last round, and they managed to get their res back up, but you can see Incognito, no real fear coming into their eyes. You talked about it. They just kind of play their own way and do whatever they want to do, and it looks like right now they want to push for this. A couple of shots now coming back out. He's got the rock in between him. This is a pretty long-range grenade, but could have a lucky bounce with it. We'll have to see, as it's going to land right up in the doorstep, but not going to be able to get anything out of it.
Yeah, the Crusaders are able to fall back into this shack. So it's going to take a grenade through the window here from wwe-raw. That one's in the back, doesn't do much. The grenade's still bouncing all over the place here. Oh, okay. Rusty Zera took a little damage from one of them there.
But look at it. wwe-raw is using it for cover and is the whole time just pushing forward and pushing forward. Insight still has the grenade prep. This is a lot of utility being used at the time for it. So here we go. wwe-raw on the flank, does spot out one of them, gets the spray down. Now going to try to transfer it back up, but nowhere to go as the smokes are going to provide. A little bit of
अबे बैंड बज गया यार, बाद में बजाना, पहले मुझे बजाना। ये ले मेरा नया फिलिप्स ट्रिमर। ये एक चले 6 ऑर्डिनरी ट्रिमर्स के बराबर, क्योंकि इसमें है ड्यूरा पावर टेक्नोलॉजी।
Innovation in you, Philips.
अब फिलिप्स लाओ और वर्ल्ड कप जाओ।
Cluster on our map. They are rotating out through the blue in the circle. This is actually very common for them to do. They did this a lot in the Chinese leagues. The only reason you didn't see this last game was because they dropped Al-Azhar and the circle was basically right on top of them. They love to make these late, try to make, you know, safe rotations as best as they can, but they've got OP Rangers on the side. Meanwhile, we've got Ents here trying to fight 17 as well. So 17 between possibly Team Liquid and Ents.
Oh, this is a rough spot for them. They're just trying to peek back over this, figure out exactly where the approach could come from. Ince does have a nice little defilade that they can play from. So looking back over onto this, I keep saying defilade, but really it's kind of a cliffside in Miramar, right? Deflade's kind of like more a little dip. You know, we throw that around a lot, and whenever we talk about PUBG, it's kind of more of a little descending dip that you can play inside of, but these are like more like cliffs.
I've always got different little words, like I say, like nook and cranny or gully, like and they're all kind of the same thing to me. They're just like dips in the ground. But it's good to have a wide variety of ways to describe it, right?
Especially on Miramar, because there are quite a few of them. And here we go. We've got Team Liquid looking back over towards Armory Gaming. Not going to be Cloud9 that's going after him this time, but MP5 just up towards the north of it. So that's going to be Abisa going ahead and getting him his first kill of the round. But James also wants to join in, and that's going to be Armory Gaming getting eliminated in 15th.
Yeah, Armory Gaming just trying to take these early fights, and so far it hasn't worked out for them. So they do go down as our first team here in game number 2, and the circle goes to the northwestern edge. So centered around STK, that's got to make the NA fans happy.
We actually have Shoot to Kill and Cloud9 over here right next to each other. So with this, look at this, I'm just looking back over towards, oh, Crystal Luster had just near on no life. So as he hits that wall, the extra little bit of damage knocks him, and it's just points delivered right out for Aerowolf.
Yeah, Aerowolf there just gifted a kill from Weishi of Crystal Luster. Okay, MP5 trying to push up on the Team Liquid a little bit here. Spartan backing off, though, doesn't feel confident in that position. I mean, they are a little closer to the circle, so it might be better for them to just try to get in at this point.
Well, it's one of those kind of dangerous fights because they've got just a couple of seconds before the circle starts to shrink down. That's putting yourself into a dangerous spot, and then you're just going to take blue damage to go for it. Instead, reposition, try to keep an eye out where they come from, but oh, a Freak's trying to protect Sile over there. I don't think that they're going to be able to get the res onto it, but at least make Purdy Curdy regret having to try to go for that peak.
Yeah, this has been a bit of a disaster here for the Freaks. They are 3 people down, basically. Style is dead to rights. There he goes. He will go down, and it's just Shadow left. No, what's funny is this is pretty typical of Freaks Fatal. Shadow is almost always the last player left for them. He has the longest average life for them over the course of the PKL this year, so it's pretty hilarious that once again he's there.
So we have a little bit of trouble could be coming from Insway. They're trying to make their way up that hillside, but they do have Liquid on one side of it, just unloading on that angle, but they have Incognito that's kind of like way back behind him. Look, Ronan way back over there. So with this, we're going to have to keep an eye on how it goes. Last 2 members of Envy also getting caught up into a little bit of a skirmish with Insight. Incognito is kind of separated out inside of their position right now. They've got one man way up in the face, and that's a beautiful grenade coming out from Venerated. Insight taking a lot of damage. It looks like might be prepping another one. This could land right up in his face, and yes, it does. Insight gets knocked off of that. Now it's just onto Ronan, but nowhere around here does Envy know that it's just the one, but look at this. Crystal Luster walking right up into Aerowolf's face. This grenade could be huge. Depends on how it bounces and rolls. Now it's just Zygon, last person left.
Yeah, it's just 2 members left here for the Aerowolves. RDK does get knocked, so Crystal Luster on the aggression here. It is just up to Hexagon. Oh, he does get the res on the Katao, though, so they get the knot onto Aisho. Here comes Gongtuo. He's trying to come up here. There's 2 members. I don't know if they know Hexagon is there. He gets 1, but does get knocked himself.
Here we go. We are in a 1v1 style situation on this angle. Long steps up, and there we go. Manages to take them down, so Crystal Luster does eliminate Aerowolf there. So a little bit of a fight happening on the other side of his AHQ, getting caught up into a skirmish. Just trying to flush out the line. One of the members of OP Rangers are right next to him, trying to feed information over to a teammate, but it is just back and forth as everybody is just trying to at least get a foothold inside of this new safe zone. Nice reposition coming out from DG as he manages to take down CC.
Yeah, 2 members of OP Rangers inside the house now, trying to bait AHQ into them. They need to defend here. They've already lost 1 member in Mental. Their all-star, the MVP from the PKL. 1 member down here for AHQ. CC looks like he will surely go down, and he does. The other 2 members of AHQ over in this little blue house. So I'm curious to see how the OP Rangers opt to approach this situation, because they've got, it looks like it's a 2v2 over here. I'm kind of curious. There was 3 members left for OP Gaming Rangers, but maybe the other one went down somewhere. I missed them on the map.
It was while they came in. They made the approach. One of the members got dropped off of it. So, no, actually, no.
There he is. Tamari is way up in the north. What are you doing?
Apparently, him and Shadow just have decided that they're up here in London, just having a little bit of a break, having some tea, hanging out, just kind of chit-chatting up there. So, here we go. New circle has popped, and this is kind of a rough circle. It's got there's not a lot of, like, easy places to hide at. Sure, there's a couple of dips and dodge places that they can hang out at, but not enough for 12 teams. So, it's going to get really violent really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. We're jumping over here with 17 Gaming, trying to keep ENCE out of the circle, and ENCE is in the meantime in a bit of a skirmish here with Team Liquid. Some damage coming down to Ibiza and Jemty, but they're able to, Squeaky does get that nice mini 14 shot onto Ibiza, who is knocked there behind that tree. But they do have the smoke up, Jemty going for the res here.
This is just a matter of time is what it feels like. Liquid is in a lot of trouble. There's ENCE right over here next to them. There's 17, and then you can see it's just Ibiza down. We've got Jemty. I think these are the last two members that are up for Team Liquid at the time, and it's just shots that are raining down inside the smoke. They can maybe reposition back out, but then there's just 17 holding another angle onto it. MP5 wants to kind of join up in the party, kind of sneaking their way right over there next to him. Actually might run right up next to their smokes. So with this, we can see that the res does come through. Ibiza is up and out, but look, we've got MP5 right on the other side of this hill.
Yeah, MP5 here spreading out, fanning out, but they're getting in their vehicles. I'm not too sure they feel like fighting Team Liquid at this point. Team Liquid down to 2 members. Ibiza getting knocked again by Squeaky, who's just got the sights on him. Jemty, the last member left here. He is taking a lot of damage against Spartan. Does get the knock, though, onto Spartan. Is he going to be able to finish it? Not quite. Oh, okay. Looks like somebody else. It's Profi over there who took that kill from Jemty.
All the work that Jemty's putting in, he just wants to get a point. He knows he's in trouble, but that does actually force MP5 to reposition out and away a little bit. Leo still looking on the other side of that, but again, it's assistance coming by from other angles, and Jemty manages to take down Miss You. He managed to get the flush onto it as well, so now it is essentially a 1v1 between Jemty and Leo, just as long as we ignore all the potential third parties that can come into play.
Yeah, Jemty doing a really great job here, picking up a few extra points for Team Liquid, all by his own. That is such a difficult thing to do, but Leo does get him there. Nice shooting underneath the vehicle there by Leo.
That
just
was
catching
tricksy.
the foot.
I like that. That was a really tricksy shot there. So here we go. We've got 10 teams, 26 alive. AHQ is running right up into Taro, the last member for Envy. He's just trying to get the spray on a 1, which he does. The vehicle explosion comes out. SR has near on no life, but Taro's just trying to go for the flush onto it. Is he going to spot him out? The vehicle's rolling back and providing cover for SR. The vehicle explosion actually pays off and provides AHQ a little bit of space and cover.
That is amazingly lucky for SR. He was almost dead to rights there. Interrogates grenade, though. Looks pretty decent. It went too far. SR wisely here crawling up.
I got baited. I thought he was back behind that, and Taro did too. So SR, though, I don't think it's going to pay off for you. As you can see, there's a lot of shots coming up from different angles. New circle has popped, and look at that. We've got Shoot to kill up on top of that ridge with a beautiful sight line, but it's going to be 17 running right up back behind ENCE. ENCE is looking back over towards 4 a.m. and everything else. Are they going to hear these footsteps? Are they too loud with their shots? Here comes Shocks looking right up next to it. Gonna spot out Speaky. Also sees out Trifelli on the other side of it. And there we go. The trap is unleashed as 17 managed to get 2 downs off of that. Why just looking back over to him. Mikas off on another angle. Here comes a long-range grenade back over from it. If that connects, this could be terrible for ENCE.
Great flank there by wwe to get those first 2 knocks onto ENCE. Squeaky down here as well. Trifelli will be confirmed by another nice grenade from wwe. Squeaky getting taken out as well. wwe throwing some more grenades, looking to get aggressive here onto ENCE, but he's taking some shots from long range, and oh my goodness, wwe absolutely on fire with these grenades.
17 just walks up and denies anything from ENCE. They were all caught up in that long-range skirmish, and 17's like, no, you should have been watching that flank. Should have been waiting for it. So they do get control of that, but there's nowhere really for them to go now as so many teams are already moving in. You can see Shadow was thinking about making an approach over here. It's like, oh, that's a lot of members that shoot to kill. I don't want to go that way.
Yeah, no reason for him to do that. This is a perfectly safe spot for him to be in. He just needs to prone, try to get as many placement points for his team as he can. He ended up killing Temeria when they were up there all by themselves a long time ago, so now he's got that northern edge of the circle. SR here looking to do some work, but now it's Babo taking shots into C9. He does get a knock here. Other members of C9 trying to provide cover. Oh, that grenade!
That was a huge nade. He turns back around and is like, okay, I don't want anything to do with this. Cloud9 under a little bit of pressure from different angles. You can see Shoot to Kills just playing along the little ridges. This hill is very interesting as there's so many little dips inside of it, but 4AM looking back up towards 17. We talked about they have a difficult cross, and you can see what it looks like. There is near on nowhere for them to go as they just crash into the other side of it. Now just trying to make their way up next to this hillside, using this something for cover, but there's just nowhere to go.
17 just absolutely getting torn torn apart by 3 different teams. Now look at this split from 4AM. Oh my goodness. All right, Profi does get knocked himself. SDK in a battle with another NA team. K-Mine coming up, trying to get the spray. He does land it. Knockdown is Adam. Will confirm the kill. He's trying to come over the hill. Nerf, though, taking some damage from other members of SDK. Oh, and he gets Curdy.
Now we've got Nerf playing along the side of it. This was a beautiful trap sprung by Cloud9, approaching on 2 different angles. Really, it's just Uncivil way back over there. One of the last remaining, or actually the last remaining member, as everybody else is going to bleed out for a shoot to kill. Cloud9 took some damage on that approach as well. Really mutually assured destruction coming out from both those teams, but you can see God V, he still knows there's a 17 member around here. He wants something out of this, slowly creeping up onto it. Keep in mind, we do have 4 angry men. I think that they're the last team with 4 people up and active inside of the squad, so a lot of little remnants from other squads are around from him at the time, as Nerf went for a little bit of a peek and got punished for it, but God V actually gets down and flushed by Shu.
A little bit over aggressive here from 4AM. They were really far apart from each other in a 2-2 split. The other members of 4AM were coming up, trying to finish off these fights on the northern end of the circle, but with God V going down, this has kind of scared them a little bit, and now they're backing off. Forever landing a couple shots onto Shu here, and he's looking over to OP Gaming Rangers. He knows they're there. They landed that grenade earlier that almost took out Babo that we saw. Another crate coming down as ZG is moving up towards it. He knows Shu is up on that hill.
None of the solos are really wanting to take any shots right now. They don't want to give away their position, and this is just paying off for 4AM. They're managing to get so much control of this area. As you can see, it's going to be a crate landing right next to him. The parachute's kind of hanging off the side, as it does whenever it hits one of those hillsides, slowly creeping down off of it. But Shu, he's the last guy up and alive, and there's so many teams around him right now. He's got, what, I think it's 3 different teams within 50 meters around him, and 4AM wants to make their way up that hillside. They really just want to bottleneck it and force it to where all the other teams can't really easily move forward because they have so many other control points on this part of the map.
Right, exactly. I mean, I like what 4AM is doing here. I like the aggression. At this point, Shadow and C9 have to wait for this battle to start between Shu and the other members of 4AM. Oh, Shu getting a couple nice rips there. ZG is able to safely back out, but Shu does take some damage himself. Other members taking some shots here. C9 does take out Shadow. That means a Freak of Freaks Fatal goes down in 6th place.
Cloud9 up to 10 kills, 4AM up to 7 right now. A lot of points for both of these teams, and I gotta say, that's Cloud9 and 17 both making their 2nd reappearance into this top 5. They're starting to stack up some placement points as well, as grenades starting to come out. Shu doesn't have too many places to hide, but somehow managing to dodge that first grenade, does not dodge the second one, and 17 gets eliminated. Look at all the grenades. That's 3 different angles that were coming after Shu. There was nowhere to go, buddy.
Poor Shu, yeah. Just 17 just got trapped between 3 different teams there. All the credit in the world to Shu to stay alive as long as he did, but he does end up going down. Now it's 4AM versus C9 up here in the north. OP Gaming Rangers are content to just hang out in their hut. They don't want to get involved, and we've got one member of AHQ, SR, down in the south.
Don't forget about Forever over there. He's up on that hillside on the other side of this, kind of protecting the other 2 members as they're just kind of running amok and doing whatever they want to. He's got that high ground to kind of look down and protect his teammates. Cloud9, though, starting to make the push right back over to him, so this could end up with a very interesting little fight. If Forever sees him, looks like he's going ahead and prep the grenade. He's rotating between the 2. It looks like he does spot out Cloud9, just not certain which weapon he wants to use to go after him yet. And yeah, look for the reposition coming out of this. This could be really bad for Cloud9.
Yeah, absolutely. Cloud9, though, getting some nice shots. Couldn't quite connect with those K-Mine, so Forever able to get back behind that tree. Now, I think the OP Gaming Rangers, they need to wait for this fight to start and rotate. In fact, DG98, right away, as soon as he heard those shots, he gets moving. He knows that to get safely into this circle, he has to wait for Cloud9 and 4AM to start fighting.
Oh, this is so dangerous. The grenade's going to roll back down the hillside. K-Mine takes a little bit of damage, but here comes ZG taken down as he makes that push. Look at Nerf trying to fight Captain on the other angle for this. K-Mine does go down onto it, so it's just Nerf holding this angle. Really, 4AM can get control over so much of the circle if they can get this. Nerf aware that he's probably going to have a couple of people pushing back behind him, but we've got the OP Rangers that are actually going to come up and assist, taking a couple of shots at 4AM. The aggression starting to backfire just a touch for him.
Babo stealing that kill onto K-Mine from 4AM there. Really smart timing here by the OP Gaming Rangers. They are pushing in at just the right time. They're able to get some shots down. They almost got the rip from DG98 onto the member of AHQ that was on the side of the hill. I believe it was Captain. Now, SR playing very smart as well here, waiting for the right moments, waiting for the other teams to fight before he makes his rotation.
Look at this. Everybody else is after cover, and we've got 4AM. It's like, no, I just need this one smoke, and I'm going to shoot everybody else around me. Nerf, got to get a little bit more meds up. As you can see, grenades are starting to land over next to him. 4AM now 3-man strong, regrouped around it. They're just going to hunt as they make their approach. Got another smoke that's coming out. We've got SR way off in the distance. He's really distracting right now because OP Rangers keeps looking back back over there, and here we go. We are in phase 9. Smack dab in the middle of this circle is where the game is going to end at. So all the teams should have a good idea on where everybody are. They've been taking a lot of shots back and forth with each other. Nerf right on the edge of that blue, going to have to be very, very careful. Really, it's just this ridge that's separating and giving him some type of space.
Yeah, here we go, and here's the rest of the utility. Babo still has some frag grenades, throwing them into that middle of that smoke, but 4AM wisely moving around the right side of the hill here because they can't quite get over the hill to see them. This is a really interesting maneuver here from 4AM, using the smokes as distraction to kind of bait out those grenades.
Exactly, it's a huge mind game. They're just having everybody use their grenades down inside the smoke, and they're not even anywhere near it. So ZG looking back over towards OP Rangers, got the down onto one of them, but look at this. SR comes alive on another angle, trying to provide some assistance. Nerf gets the shots onto one of them, but gets taken down inside of the exchange. So with this, we've got HQ on the other side of this. Forever has taken a lot of damage. Captain is down at the time. ZG looking back on this other angle. So it is a 2v1. They can't really risk taking the time to try to get the res onto it, but look, 4AM, no fear in their eyes as they are just charging through, using smokes for cover, back and forth, and look at the gun in his hands. If you want to end up in a close range battle, that is the way you want to go. That is just bullets for days, as now SR very aware the push is coming for him, trying to find out which angle he's got to peek from. He has to fight this so differently. He's got just the tree, and it's his only cover piece. 4AM can push from 2 different sides. There's nowhere for him to really go. He has to hit the shots. He has to take down one of them so that way he can protect the other angle. He just actually abandons the tree, decides to just run up and forward, and he gets taken down as 4AM gets themselves the round victory.
4AM with some great aggressive play that they're in. A really impressive 12-kill win for them. They split apart so early in that circle. I think it was like phase 7 or 8. They had this huge 2-2 split, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, will this actually work? And they made it work because they timed their aggression correctly. They were able to push up and completely cut off those teams in the north.
Well, we talk about how 4AM tends to play really aggressively, and you know, if you predominantly only watch like North America or EU, and this is your first taste of how like the competitive meta happens in other regions, here you go. Here's a good idea. Let's just walk into the middle of the circle and just start fighting anything that moves around us, just because we think we can kill them, and we know we can kill them.
Yeah, all the credit in the world to SR here to pull out a second place. Only 1 kill for them, but hey, SR, great job being the sneaky snake here, finding a way to at least make it to the end there for AHQ and some much needed points. But once again, we're seeing C9 in the top 5. OP Gaming Rangers having a nice game here, and 17 as well. 17,
Cloud9, they're starting to reappear very regularly on these Miramar maps, and let's be honest, Cloud9 got a ton of kills out of that. K-Mine walking away with 5. And back behind that, we got to also give a big shout out to ZGG. He walks away with 5 kills as well.
Yeah, some really big rounds for them. We didn't get to see the same kind of thing out of Team Liquid. They got caught kind of early in transition, stuck between some teams like ENCE and MP5, so they weren't quite able to make it work. They did get a few kills again, so they're still doing pretty well, but the consistency we're seeing from 17 and C9 is quite impressive so far.
I mean, that was a very interesting round coming out from Cloud9, all things considered, because we saw them get caught up in that fight with Armory Gaming that was just move forward, take a couple of shots, the other team moves forward, and they were just kind of going back and forth with it. And that just gives you an idea on how much utility that they had to work with through the entirety of this game, because it was just back and forth with them all the way through this. They were never afraid to take any fights.
Yeah, props to them, because that's a really difficult situation to be in, because you're coming into the circle late, there's a lot of fighting going on, you're taking damage, your vehicles are taking damage, so you're already at a bit of a disadvantage coming in at the end. So you have to give a lot of credit to C9 here. They are playing very well today.
I do, but also at the same time, Why'd you have to fight yourselves moving into each other, and then just everybody else is like, oh, I can kill you now.
Well, this is how I felt when Afrika Freaks Fatal and OP Gaming Rangers, Shadow and Tamario were up there all by themselves on the north end. I'm like, oh man, like, come on guys, like, can we not fight each other? Like,
yeah, see, we're the international caster pair here. We've got a whole bunch of the EU guys. I see Kalaris and Avenger over there smiling, looking back over there like, nah, North American PUBG. Toffee's got to protect us, but naturally got Pansy and Sims that are going to be casting following this up as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So they're going to bring that EU flair.
So if you guys are like, these casters are so biased, don't worry. You guys are going to get some EU bias coming in a minute. That'll be fine.
Yeah, it's about time we get some KR bias coming in here, man. We have been one of the strongest regions in the world. I mean, they were the top 2 teams at PAI 2019. They won TPP back at PGI. I mean, I know that's not nearly as competitive a format as FPP. Now we're in FPP. They're good, man, and they're playing all right.
It just makes somebody from Korea, it makes my soul happy hearing you say, oh, yeah, well, 3PP, it's not as competitive first person. Thank you. Join us. Welcome to the party.
They've been converted as well. All the Korean teams have admitted it. So
everybody is on first person across all of the leagues worldwide right now, so I'm just glad that I was kind of worried there for just a second.
All right, well, I think we're about to jump over to a player from 4AM. Let's get over there.
That is exactly right, guys. Yes, I am joined by the winning side 4AM and Godv here. So first of all, how was the team feeling coming off that win? That was pretty impressive.
就是问这个战队，就是吃到这盘鸡的感觉是怎么样子的？
非常不错吧，因为就是赛事那个比赛刚开始嘛，然后能吃到一把鸡的话，接下来比赛压力会小很多。
He said it was the feeling was pretty great because at the beginning of this event he can have a chicken dinner. There will be less stress.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was just going to talk about that previous game that we saw. You guys didn't place very highly. What changed coming into the second match?
就是其实开端的话，这局不是特别的顺嘛，然后但是你们怎么做出的这个改变，然后最后吃到了这个鸡？
因为我们对这个圈型非常的了解嘛，然后大概会知道圈内的人的分布是什么样的情况，然后当3圈往右上角切的时候，我们就直接去了圈人最少的地方，然后并且站住了那里，然后就之后就会打得很轻松。
Because they know pretty much about this security circle. The time when the security circle went to the northeast, at that moment they knew every position other teams are, so they know quite better about each other, so they can got this chicken dinner.
So I just want to talk about that final fight.
नहीं रे भरत कभी भी नहीं लगता है ये
And I think you bring it up. It was looking down at that river, right? We saw that when C9.
सिटी ब्रॉडबैंड हक रहा है पता नहीं क्यों शिट यार एक सेकंड गाइस रुक जाओ और कैसे है भारत भाई जरा बोलो हमको। हाँ ठीक है मैं कर लेता हूँ। कोई सिटी ब्रॉडबैंड अभी क्या है हमारे इधर बारिश है ना तो थोड़ा वो हो रहा है ब्रॉड नेट चल नहीं पा रहा है ढंग से पता नहीं क्यों। ऐसे 21 तारीख तक डेली ऐसा स्ट्रीम होगा रोज़ आ जाना देखना क्योंकि 21 तारीख तक मैं करने वाला हूँ ताकि मेरे जो वॉच आवर्स बाकी है वो भी हो जाएगा और उसके बाद हम स्ट्रीम करेंगे अपना जो नॉर्मल करते हैं। एक सेकंड यार रुक जाओ सब। जो सर्कल रोटेट मारा ना भाई पूरा लिक्विड का गेम चला गया। वैसे लिक्विड बाद में भी सैंडविच ही होने वाला था बचने वाला तो नहीं था। चलो आज मैं थोड़ा कमेंट देखो।
Bang, 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 bang. So they have to do it, and they have to eliminate them to keep themselves in the game. But it's a great set of consistency for our first two games for Cloud9 to have a fourth place, decent showing, third place, very decent showing.
And they can't be mad about it. They honestly, so AHQ came in second. C9 actually got second place points more than AHQ because they realized whether or not we lose this, if we go for those kills, if we get that knock, that fourth person on 4 a.m., they got the kill there. They did a very good job of executing. And honestly, it came down to the STK C9 fight. Whoever won that comes in third place. And honestly, if they had never fought, if one of those teams hadn't been there, I think maybe we see a different winner this time around.
Oh, on top of that, if they even fought and won with three guys alive, if they had three guys alive on that high ground position, they would be able to look over the brow of the hill there and completely wipe out 4 a.m.
Also, remember, 4 a.m. got that second player with a beautifully and kind of lucky nade because they had no information on where C9 was. That nade got a knock that allowed 4 a.m. to crest the hill and sort of finish off C9. So 4 a.m. played that very well, but you're right. If a third player had been there, they could have gone for a safe res. They could have covered the line, and maybe C9 comes out on top.
And we can take the magnifying glass away here for a moment and take a look at how 4 a.m. was able to kind of truly solidify them spot in towards the final moments here and how they were able to actually win out the game with already some very good shots to start things off against where 17 Gaming had to transition to and then defeating one of the bigger spoilers in OP Gaming Rangers.
What we saw here, just to begin with, was where they transitioned away from the north and down to the south, and then they third party and kind of attacked everyone that was stacked up in the north, because we saw 8 players on the north there where they're just kind of third partying and making sure that they're taking control. Even though they had a team to the east, I believe there's still a guy alive to the south as well, they managed to go down there safely with 2 guys and just completely ruin it for everybody on the northwestern side.
And it was a good control. They're an aggressive team, but to be honest, they got 12 kills. Half of them came from sort of the winner's bonus.
सब लोग प्रोफेशनली खेलते हैं, बाहर की टीम है, इंडिया की एक भी नहीं है। अपने इंडिया में किधर हर्ट्स भाई टीम है ऐसी कि प्रोफेशनली खेले। अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं नो डाउट, पर वो ई स्पोर्ट्स लेवल पे नहीं खेल पाते क्योंकि जो टीम लिक्विड है ये सब है, बहुत ही अच्छे अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं, वर्ल्ड के अच्छे अच्छे प्लेयर्स हैं। C9 की टीम है, बहुत सारी टीम्स हैं, एंड अपने इंडिया में उतने कुछ खास बेहतरीन प्लेयर्स भी नहीं है जो इन लोगों के साथ मतलब कंपटीशन कर सके। अच्छे हैं नो डाउट, पर अपने इंडिया में वही है कि थोड़ा अगर अच्छा तुम खेलोगे तो थोड़ा एटीट्यूड आ जाता है, तो उसके बहुत सारा वो है। अपने इंडिया की टीम ई स्पोर्ट्स नॉट पॉसिबल, हो ही नहीं सकता कभी। हाँ CS के अंदर है अपना ब्रूटालिटी वेनम का टीम, पर PUBG के अंदर तो नहीं है बहुत प्रोफेशनली अपने इंडिया में भी, पर नहीं। 21 को गेमर कनेक्ट होने वाला है अहमदाबाद। हाँ मैं जा रहा हूँ हॉट्स पे, सोच रहा हूँ व्लॉग बना, पर मेरे पास वो सब स्टैंड बैंड नहीं है, तो उसका मेरे को सब सेट करना पड़ेगा, देखता हूँ। ओके चलो अब टूर्नामेंट देखते हैं।
Okay, we learned from the mistakes from the first match that we have some turnovers in the first one. So in this one, we do very carefully, and luckily I was able to sneak out like in the final rounds, like being invisible. So it's kind of lucky, but we did learn from the mistakes.
You weren't entirely invisible though, SR, because you did get a kill. So how did you judge when to stay silent, and when did you judge when to frag?
你其实有拿到击杀嘛？那其实你应该有一个准则，你什么时候应该要出现，什么时候应该要躲，这你是根据什么去决定的？
是当下的判断，就是可能如果被发现或者是掩体不好的时候，就是没有办法持续输出的话，就是要过一点。对啊，如果正常就是有位置掩体好的时候，该发挥还是要发挥。
Okay, it all depends on the stand-up procedure, like our position. So if there is more cover, so we'll just stay there. But if it's not, we need to keep moving. But if there's any chance, we will just seize it. Yeah.
And finally, you came up against the 4 angry men. That must be quite intimidating when it's 3v1. Did you think there was any chance of you taking that chicken dinner in that round?
在最后你是1打3 4AM 嘛？那这应该是蛮难得的经验。那你在最后的时候，你有没有想说你有机会赢下这场比赛？
其实那时候 4N 有倒一个的时候，我应该要先把它补掉，这样才会变成导致可以有机会1打2，不是1打3的局面。所以那边是我自己有一点失误。
Okay, to be honest, there was a very good chance when they were one of the 4M member, he was DBNO, but I didn't get the kill. So in the finals it become 3v1, but not 2v1. If it's 2v1, I think I can do it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully next time you're in that situation, if you end up like that again, SR, you will emerge victorious. Thank you so much for talking to me, Shishay. And we need to head to a break, but we will see you on the other side.
ये सोच के दिन दहाड़े चोरी करने आए हाँ प्रिया पुलिस को फोन लगा
हाँ एक सेकंड
छोड़ तो मुझे प्रिया फोन लगा कि नहीं
बैटरी ड्रेन हो गई एक सेकंड चार्ज करके आती हूँ
कितनी बार कहा है कि ये डब्बा फेंक दे 100 बार चार्ज करती है फिर भी कुछ नहीं होता
अबे अप्रेजल नहीं मिला कहाँ से लूँ नया फोन तुझे तो तेरा बाप दिला देगा ना
बाप पे मत जा और तेरा ये डब्बा ना तू बेच दे
Welcome back to the FACEIT Global Summit. Now, I have to be quite quiet because I'm backstage and all our players are getting ready for map number 3. But before we get into the action, we first need to say a thank you to BenQ for their amazing XL 2540, 240 hertz monitors. Our players would be stuck without them, so thank you so much for your incredible technology, BenQ. Now, if you want to get in touch with us, you can. It's so simple. All you need to do is use the hashtag FACEITGlobalSummit. Now, shall we take a look at the teams from Group B? I think we should.
I think our chances will be great. Like, if we just play our own game and we keep focused like what we do, I think we're gonna do great. Like, we don't have that much pressure. Like, we don't feel the pressure after all. We haven't played against Asian teams at all.
What kind of rotations they do and what kind of game plan they have, because they play way different meta than EU or NA does. So.
我们队伍不错，我对中国队有很大的信心，概率上嘛，起码已经50%以上。
I think the competitive scene has gotten a lot more competitive overall. Like, I think a lot of the teams have started removing their worst players and picking up better players, or at least in NA, that's what's been happening.
Our chances of winning are extremely high. We're a very strong team, and we're super confident that we can take this win.
那就一般有观众的话，无非就是2种，要么就更紧张，或者是更兴奋。但我觉得我们队伍的话，应该会更兴奋。
We don't have a lot of experience. It's our first international tournament, but I think we can do well.
In Brazil, we already played one tournament in front of a crowd. It was normal. Do not affect us.
会变得比较好，因为想要打得更好，会比较兴奋一点。就是因为这种场合比较不常见。
ที่คาดหวังเอาไว้ก็หวังว่าเราจะอยู่ในรอบสุดท้ายครับผมรอบ16 ทีม
일단 우승 하려고 왔고 그거 우승하려고 이제 많은 준비를 해왔는데 이제 그거는 게임에서 보여주고 싶다.
Welcome back to the analysis desk here, as Frankie might need to be quiet, but I don't, because it's the FACEIT Global Summit, and we're back to bring you everything before we get into game number 3, and it will be on Miramar once again. I have Toffees, I have Avenger. Boys, it's good to be back together, actually. It's been so long since we actually had this trio go, but we are back, and we're breaking down everything that's going on. We've had 2 maps of Miramar so far. Toffees, what are your Toffees takeaways from the 2 games?
My Toffees takeaway from the 2 games is that teams have to adapt fast. Understand what do you need to do. Do you need to search for the kills? Do you need to save yourself with some backup points, or look for that placement? And I think that that's what teams are doing that are coming out on top. They're saying, okay, we've got placement, let's get the bonus kills, or let's put on 4 on the board and then GG go next. And I think that that works right now. It's going to be looking, I think, to get out of this groups and or avoid elimination. We're looking at an average point per game of around 6. So I think you need to be targeting that, and that's what these teams are doing.
Avenger, what are your Avengers Revenges? No, it's not gone well.
No.
What are you taking away from those first 2 games?
From these first 2 games, I think what was very interesting was to see how top-heavy the first game was, where we saw all the kills go to kind of the top teams. Next game, kind of all the teams got a kill, or some of the bottom even got a lot of them. So how they're adapting to, okay, they're just kind of not throwing a Hail Mary trying to get into the circle, but they're, okay, we're not going to get into the circle, so we're going to focus on getting the kills, and then we can die in whatever circle, because we already get 3, 4, 5 kills.
I think in the first game, we saw some teams clinging to that old system of, like, placement first, and we saw that. Like, the marks were left on the wall where their fingernails were scraping.
Needs to be dispelled almost.
Yeah, and it was, I think, because we saw the top teams rack up so many kills, and everybody went, oh, man, I went out in 7th, and I got a point.
Yeah.
So now, in game 2, we saw that adaptation already starting.
Well, boys, of course, at the beginning of the day, we did choose kind of our 5 players to kind of have a little bit more of a look at, see what was going on. Thankfully, one of our players just won. So let's check in with our 5 players and see how they have done so far throughout the day. Of course, godv coming off the back of our previous win here for 4 Angry Men. it gives us an impressive showing in itself. So overall, guys, have you been able to kind of spy on anything that these guys have been doing? OP Gaming Rangers, Mental didn't have the easiest of times there, but the rest of his team kind of did get a better placement.
He did get a roadkill, so to say.
He did run someone over.
That's a good thing.
Yes.
But the biggest takeaway is how kind of I feel like NC is still struggling a little bit and maybe not adapting too much. We haven't seen Rustamar really pop off as we've seen some of the other guys do. For example, K-Mine have really been doing well, especially last game he got 5 or 6 kills. So I really want to see that step up kind of from Rustamar.
Yeah, I mean, let's take a look at, I don't know, is it God V? Is it God 5? It's
but we're speculating.
A God win, because these guys play well. He's an ex-League of Legends pro that has the pedigree. He said when you play on that interview, in a situation like this, you're nervous, you're excited, you know, dealing with the land jitters. These guys have been to the events, they've been to PGI, they've been to championships. You know a player with pedigree like God V is not happy with finishing 4th in their league. He's not happy with how they did at PGI. And he's got the leadership to help his team be comfortable at a LAN and start strong, and I think that's what we saw in the last game.
Yeah, definitely very impressive by them. So overall, going into, it's our final map of Miramar actually for the day as well. So what can teams do here to try and kind of get themselves into a bit of a better spot? Teams like Cloud9 don't particularly even really need it, of course, because they've already racked up quite a bit of points themselves. What are teams that you're looking at? Is it a team like ENCE that you're saying hasn't quite been able to fit the mold just yet for our first 2 games? Or what do you think?
I think it's great for ENCE that they start on Miramar to kind of get warmed up so they can get to Erangel and play their usual game, because that's where, on Erangel, that's really a map where they can play the usual game in this meta, in this kind of, with these teams, against these teams where they will kind of strive. But here, they really have struggled so far. Looking forward to see how they're going to do here in the last match.
Toughies?
Give me that 17. 2 games in a row, consistent kill counts, good placement. They're just waiting for that moment where they don't have to make a hard transition. If the circle had gone south on that one, we might have seen a 17 victory. So 17 wins this one, and I think makes a big statement about just how strong China is. Maybe more than a 50% chance that they win.
I think you mentioned it very well in our previous game whilst we were watching it. They set themselves up well for success with the compound that they've taken, but they just didn't get the circles. And sometimes that's how it goes in PUBG.
And that's what you do. You build for, I mean, it's like life, man. You build for success, and sometimes it doesn't work out, and you have to start over or find something new. But at the end of the day, if you're always setting a good foundation for success, eventually when lightning strikes, you're ready to capitalize on it. And that's what I'm waiting for 17. They need the lightning strike, but every single time that base is strong.
And thank you very much, gentlemen. It is time to get into our final map of Miramar here for day number 1 of the FACEIT Global Summit as we head over to our 2 commentators once again for all the action.
Thank you so much, everybody, on the analyst desk. You can see that we're getting ready for our last round of Miramar. We've got the plane that's getting ready to go up into the air, and I gotta say, we're starting to see a couple of names repeatedly in that top 5. Can they keep it up is the big question.
Right, absolutely. C9 and 17, the 2 big ones we've been talking about. 4AM, a really interesting team. 4AM in China, they had the most wins, despite placing 4th overall in the China League, as well as the most kills per round. This is a team that is feast or famine. If they start popping off, that is a team you got to keep your eyes on because they are very scary.
We have 2 consistent teams that I'm hoping kind of shift that up a little bit. We've got Shoot to Kill, a team that we've been talking about a lot at the early part of the day. They're coming 7th, 2 times in a row. But also Brazilian Crusaders. You guys have my heart, but 2 games in a row, first team eliminated. We need to see some life from them.
I mean, I would love to see some life out of them. You know, they made a great adjustment going to Chumacera, a nice open location to go to. They won't have that available when they face OMG and the next time they see each other. But, you know, for now, it's a fine thing to do here today. And once again, we're seeing Team Liquid, you know, just going Picado. MP5 Spartan drops that warehouse down there. But, oh, Jempty.
Oh, Spartan, you're in some trouble, man.
Jempty cut him off this time. I think this is a nice little cheeky play here from Jempty to keep MP5 away from that loot location.
All right, Abisa, what do you got? You can see trying to go for a position on it. Spartan really nowhere else that he can go, so he's just forced to run right into Picado. I think he's trying to make his way over to this vehicle. It's going to be a factor. Can Team Liquid get any guns to take any shots at him? And you can see Jempty got himself some long-range iron sight, Car 98. It seemed maybe just a dream. You never know. Might be able to get it.
No reason not to. They might as well go for it. I mean, it's so early, it doesn't matter.
Wait. We're not in the northeast. What's happening? Wait. I'm confused. All right, so it looks like we've got a circle that's going to be just a little bit north of center.
Yeah, so, you know, once again, nobody's going on the northern end. Nobody's even in El Pozo or La Cobreria, so there's so much room at the north end of this circle. And on this side of the circle, the north end has a lot more cover and other things to work with, so I'm curious to see how this will pan out.
So we've got a couple of shots going back and forth between Airwolf, and we also have Cloud9's Nerf on the other side of this. It's kind of a separated little skirmish that's going on. kind of an interesting situation as Airwolf has three members that are all the way down south of this, and just to the north of it, it's going to be Cloud9, so should be able to come in and provide a little bit of assistance. So RDK, I don't know what you're working with up here, but you're going to have a little bit of trouble if you stay for too much longer. He's actually choosing to press forward into this, so Nerf, he doesn't really want to go for the kill. He's just biding his time, just trying to get enough attention to get the rest of the members from Cloud9 to provide some form of assistance.
Yeah, it just seems like Cloud9 can't catch a break early on in these games. There's always somebody just kind of messing with them a little bit, and this time it's the Aerowolves. But they've got the circle. Nerf just needs to stay safe here. He can't be really risking too much damage. He's in a bit of a fight with RDK. We'll see how this pans out. Other members of Cloud9 are rotating in to help.
But look, we also do have Airwolf that's also making their way over here as well. It's going to be a grenade going through RDK. I think he might be in a safe spot. Grenade's going to get a little bit of damage off onto him. Both teams trying to regroup, and actually Aerowolf, I think, is full committing to this. They're either going to come by and try to pick him up, or they're just going to go in position to try to get the kill off of this Cloud9. It seems like they have faith in what's going on over here, and they're just kind of letting him be, as Duckman's going to go ahead and pick up the flush and the kill onto Fong there.
Yeah, this Duckman's, he's been having a good day today. I believe that's his 4th kill overall. I don't think he got any kills in round number 3, but yeah, okay, K-Mine's up on the hill looking to protect Nerf from the approaching members of Aerowolf. They're aggressively rotating in here. Nerf is pretty much on an island. I don't know what's going to happen there.
So we've got K-Mine that's providing some cover up towards the top. Keep in mind, this is not inside the new safe zone, so everybody has to be very cautious about how much time they commit into this. So Airwolf's in the spot over here. Got a K-Mine providing him a little bit. Forever actually walks back over and sees Miss You, goes ahead and gets the down and the flush onto that. A lot of little skirmishes that are happening through and through as Icky throws down some smokes. Are they going to commit to this? They have to be careful. Again, blue zone is going to be coming.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've got to either just flush Nerf out right away. They've got a 4v1 advantage, and they kind of have to know that. They have to know that there's no other members of C9 close enough unless they give them the time to rotate. And K-Mine getting in this vehicle to try to get down there.
Is he going to actually commit to going down there, or is he just moving into another high ground position? Finally, we see Cloud9. They've all regrouped. Looks like they're going to commit to trying to defend Nerf, not going to leave him all by his lonesome. Nerf is having to defend this angle, and you can see he's got near on nowhere he can go. He goes down inside of the exchange, but it's after Cloud9 makes the commitment to rotate down through here. Loeb's in no position to where he can provide any form of cover. Profi's right down now in the exact same spot that Nerf is in.
Yeah, I feel like this was a bit of a late rotation by both of these teams. C9 should have really aggressively gone after that situation when they knew that it was just a 1v1 with Nerf and RDK, because they know that the rest of the members have to come to them of the Aerowolves. Monkey King trying to get some shots though on Armory, nothing quite doing there. 17 a team we're going to be keeping our eyes on very closely. They've had 2 top 5 finishes today. You know, can they close out the deal in game 3?
So now comes the question, what do you do and how do you disengage from this fight as Cloud9 has moved themselves into a position where they have 3 different firing angles, and I think that Aerowolves looks like they're just wanting to go ahead and get out of this. They're just going to try to retreat back out and away, and that might be the moment that Cloud9 opts into going for like a sneaky little just trap and just spring it on them. But I'm kind of curious. There we go. We've got RDK that's positioned over here. Shots are now starting to come through, connecting over onto it. RDK has near on no life. If he connects with anything, it's going to take him down. So that's going to be RDK getting taken down. Now here comes the rest of the trap, as it's going to be a long nade just thrown over the top of the building coming out from Profi. Doesn't look like it connects with anything. Going to see if he can maybe line up another one. Everybody from Aerowolves is slowly just getting pinched back down into this. Nice throw coming through that time as Profi gets the down onto it. Sure, they might have taken down Nerf, but 2 members now down and out. Another follow-up grenade are going to land right up on top of him, and that's going to be a nice flush onto it. Meanwhile, Taro on the other side of the map taking some shots over at MP5.
Yeah, absolutely. NV trying to knock out these last 2 members of NB5. MP5 suffered some damage early on. We're moving back over here with C9. Profi has the right flank. K-Mine has the hill, and Lobes has the hill across the way. This is a desperate situation for the Aerowolves. Their indecision, I think, cost them a little bit here. I think they could have flushed Nerf out quicker, gotten it out of the situation if that's what they wanted to do. But wise decisions here from C9 to be patient and wait for the members of the Aerowolves to get into their vehicles before they spring their trap. And Profi here just trying to find an angle. Aerowolves are being as safe as they can, but eventually one of these teams is going to have to go for something here.
Nerf bought so much time for Cloud9. He was so defended. Almost felt like Cloud9 was like, no, we trust you to handle this by yourself. Finally, he did go down inside the exchanges, just the numbers were just too much for him to handle. But with this, now looking back over towards Freak of Freaks Fatal on the other side of the road there as they're trying to regroup. And poor Armory Gaming, they just keep having everybody mess with them in the early games as well. Way off in the distance, you can see it's going to be one of them coming down the hillside there. So here we go. It's going to be Crystal Luster. It's already making their rotation as well. Actually moving just way up towards the north and going to be bumping into HQ if they're not careful. And okay, Jimty, I see you. That's some nice shots. Real long range. Going to go ahead and take down Duckmans.
Wow. Those are some incredible shots there from Jemty with the Mini 14, and the most important member for AG goes down here, Duckmans. A tough loss for them once again in the early game. They just keep finding teams and finding fights early on. Now we're getting some fighting going on between a Freak of Freaks Fatal and Team Liquid, but it doesn't look like much damage was done.
Brazilian Crusaders now making their way inside the safe zone. Actually going to move out and away from the Murado. Haven't had any casualties come their way yet. In pretty safe spot, all things considered. But again, Cloud9, Airwolves is still back and forth with each other back down towards just outside the safe zone. So Lobes looks like he's going to go for a reposition. Airwolves, I don't know what they have planned at this point. They're just like, all right, we're just going to stay here and hopefully they'll just get bored and leave.
Yeah, that's what you want, but I don't think C9's going to get bored. We saw them be very patient with Armory Gaming last round when they played the leapfrog, but now Lobes is just trying to keep them pinned inside, not let them out, because eventually, you know, Aerowolves has to leave the building, and C9 has a bigger advantage here. They've already moved up on them. Profi trying to be quiet here, being crouched makes your quiet, you know, makes your footsteps a lot quieter.
Sneaky Ninja Profi trying to sneak up, seeing if anybody's going to try to go for any vehicles. He still does have one grenade left. Trying to see if maybe somebody goes from the peak. Keep in mind, Lopes was back behind him, taking those peekaboo shots back over at Icky a second ago, and that might have fed the information over, but here comes the blue wall. Keep in mind, early game, nothing to be too scared about, so they should all have plenty of tools to work with, except for Profi, who really only has some bandages. So hoping maybe some meds are on at least a couple of members of Airwolves here.
Yeah, we'll see how that fight goes down. I mean, it might just be a waiting game here. We're looking up over at Envy, who is getting in their vehicles and making their rotation. They were down south of Power Grid. They're making their way north now. As the circle does rotate center north here, it's got some of Cobreria in it. CL making, I think, a very, very smart rotation here around the north end of the map, where I think, you know, if you've been watching these games, there hasn't been many teams on the north end, so there's a lot of room to maneuver up there.
I'm kind of curious on how a lot of these teams that are just south of the circle are going to kind of move around. You can see Incognito's just stopped out of their vehicles, going to take a couple of shots. A Freak of Freaks as well as AG are kind of forced up next to each other, because remember, Team Liquid was not relenting and forcing them to kind of connect. DMG is just kind of up here hanging out. Meanwhile, we've got Envy that's going to be rotating right next to wwe-setro, who looked like was going to be posted up as their defenders. And still Cloud9 just back down over there, taking a couple of shots back and forth with Aerowolves. No rush onto it. wwe-setro decides to take a couple of shots back over at PatCaps. Now information's going to get fed over to the rest of the members of Envy. And look, none of them actually stopping to help PatCaps out.
Yeah, PatCaps took quite a bit of damage here. Okay, C9 does end up finishing off the Aerowolves. They will be our first team eliminated here in game number 3. Style up on the hill looking down at Armory Gaming. Profi now going in to loot the dead bodies of the Aerowolves. PatCaps has gotten his health back up. wwe-setro not able to land some of those SLR shots. Looks like wwe-setro has decided, okay, I might have overstayed my welcome here. Time to get out and join the rest of my team.
Oh, okay, there you go. You can see Envy was like, you want to take some shots at us? This is the price you pay. So wwe-setro apparently kicked a hornet's nest whenever he took a couple of shots over at Envy. They decided to go after it. Cloud9 does manage to take down all of Aerowolves over there, so should be able to get the utility based off that. Keep in mind, they had to pull off of doing a lot of their looting, so they needed to get the flushes and the downs onto those members. Otherwise, they would have moved in with nothing for the mid game.
Yeah, exactly correct. And it looks like the other members of Incognito trying to get some revenge for wwe-setro. What a shot from PatCaps with that Car 98. That is absolutely insane. Joxy getting some nice damage done himself. Venerated is able to lay down here, so no longer does he have the shot.
Incognito, you tried this a second ago, and it didn't necessarily turn out in your favor. So looks like they've got their last two members regrouped next to each other, trying to figure out how they're going to do something with this. So Venerated right back on the edge of it. MP5, a long rotation way over towards the east. Cloud9's K-Mind tailing back behind the other members of Cloud9. Looks like they're just going to try to cut up. Maybe, I don't think that they're any rush, so they can probably just stop along the edge somewhere. But really, the center of the map is pretty congested at this point.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of teams that have taken up central locations here on on the edge here, you have C9 moving in, MP5 on the right side, OP Gaming Rangers coming up through the north edge. I think another really smart rotation there. Team Liquid with another very smart rotation as well, as they went way to the west side and into the north, up near the crater fields there. So I think that was a wise decision. Afrika Freaks Fatal just playing a bit of a dancing game here with Armory Gaming. CL looking down at AHQ up on the north side here. Not much going on so far there.
Brazilian Crusaders right along the edge of the circle, nothing to be too concerned with as they just take a couple of pot shots. But I just wanted to chime in with that fight that we keep seeing from Afrika Freaks and Armory Gaming. Remember, that's a continuation of control from Team Liquid very early, taking out their vehicles, taking out their tires, really forcing the guys to have to walk next to each other. And when you have to walk around Miramar, you now see how terrible it can end up for you, especially if it's two teams that have all utility taken away from their rotation. So Onboy is going to go ahead and have a grenade just drop down at his head. Going to roll a little bit too far away, so he's just going to watch it roll in the distance like, you didn't get me.
Yeah, Han Boya gets knocked down there for Armory Gaming. That grenade just doesn't quite get in the door of the building general. Is it in the other members of AG here trying to safely get out? They're down to 2. Afrika Freaks Fatal smelling a little bit of blood here. Style landing a little bit of damage. Shadow does confirm the kill onto Han Boya. Looks like he's trying to get into those windows with the SLR, just trying to keep them pinned. Doesn't want to let them get out of here. Afrika Freaks Fatal wants these points.
Well, I think to note, again, we're in one of those situations where the blue's going to be coming. These guys have about 600-700 meters that they have to walk to get into the safe zone. You don't really want to spend too much time caught up in a fight like this, but smack dab over towards the center, you can see we've got a lot of teams that you should be getting familiar with. We've got 4 Angry Men, 17 Shoot to Kill, AHQ all post up, as well as Crystal, gosh, I had it and then I lost it.
Crystal Luster.
Crystal Luster. I don't know why it's Crystal. The Luster is what throws me every single time.
I have a tough time with Tangguo. That one is like, it's like, because I know a little bit of like Chinese pronunciation, but I don't know enough, so I just want to call this guy Tong because that is such a a mouthful to come out of my mouth. But Crystal Luster, you know, this is an interesting team. They're very passive. They're the most passive team from China that's here, I feel. And now they've done another 2-2 split here. They find ways to come into the circles late and just kind of set up and try to make it to the late game. I think kind of similar to how OP Gaming Rangers approach the game.
While we were watching that, you can see Abisa managed to run over there, get himself a nice little toy as he made his push over towards the crate that had dropped. He did lose the tires on his vehicle, as you can see it sitting back behind him, so now going to have to use a little bit of utility with the smokes to make the run back down to some form of cover. But Team Liquid running a very interesting split all across this part of the map right now. Really no fear coming out from them, but they've got Cloud9 that could approach back from behind them.
Yeah, look, Biza's coming down the hill here. A few shots coming his way, but he's able to safely make it down there and will be able to kind of lead the way for his team here. Now, the real question is they saw Ibiza come. Will anybody try to pick off the other members of Team Liquid? Now, you've got Jeems way up there, up on the north end of the circle as well. So Team Liquid really trying to cover some real estate here to prevent anybody from coming in around behind them. I think they have a pretty good idea that C9's back there, and they want to make sure that there's no safe way for C9 to really get through them.
Where we see Jimty and Samty at, just to the east of Crater Fields, along that kind of wall that the hillside makes, is such a power point. And luckily, they are going to get a little bit of information, see Cloud9 back behind them, take a couple of pot shots back over at him, and that is another tasty little crate that we have that's been dropped right there. Go ahead and get an extended quick draw mag as well as an AWM. Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah. Please get that. We missed the AWM last game. That crater, at least I never saw anyone use it. Maybe I missed it, but it would be nice to see that. I love seeing that gun come into play. Oh,
Incognito, this is just not your game. Everywhere you go, there is just somebody waiting. Grenade's going to go ahead and get tossed over one side. We did see Ronan, his teammate, way off in the distance over there, has kind of been forced to huddle back behind his vehicle outside and in the blue, but going to walk up, go ahead and get the flush onto that, and there we go. Juxie is now down and out.
Yeah, Ents here over on the southeastern part of the circle, taking a few shots onto Envy, but those are some pretty long-range shots here. They're just kind of trying to see if they can get a little damage here or there, and then they'll be able to pretty much probably safely rotate in the circle. They don't really have anyone that looks like they're too interested in going there, except, of course, maybe Incognito.
Oh, you can see Afrika Freaks taking a couple of shots back up this hillside as the Crusaders were trying to crusade their way over towards the safe zone. Again, we see Afrika Freaks on foot having to slowly walk themselves to the safe zone. They managed to get there, they take a little bit of a break, catch their breath, and have to start running after the next one. But Crusaders, no real rush. They've just got the hillside that they can play along that we saw that was Team Liquid playing around a little bit earlier. Again, you can see the beautiful sight lines that you can get and collect so much information. I think they've decided to stop for just a second and let Rusty go ahead and get his meds back up before continuing the push. And oh no, Crusaders, that's not what you want to push down into that. So we got the OP Rangers looking back over towards Envy as well.
Yeah, the OP Rangers up on the hill here above Envy. They might opt to try to push this position or at least see if they can get a little bit of damage. They want to keep Envy at bay. Now, they got to be careful because MP5 will have sight lines on there as they're peeking over that hill. Some grenades coming in as the Crusaders are pushing in on this compound that CL has. CL only has 2 here. They opted for a 2-2 split. This is the danger of a 2-2 split.
It's just multiple fights happening on different parts of the map. Grenade's going to end up catching that top part of the wall coming up from Crystal Luster. So Crusaders, if you heard me say, oh no, you can see the amount of teams that were around him where they decided to just drive down right into the middle of this. Shock's actually running from 17 a little bit separated out from the rest of his team, surrounding 4AM, capable of taking some pot shots. On the other side, there's a nice grenade coming out. Going to go ahead and down 1 FPS.
Yeah, Tong with a nice grenade there. FPS is going to be forced outside to try to recover from this. More grenades coming in, and oh my goodness, nice grenade here from the members of CL. They've already got a kill and a knock onto the Crusaders despite being outnumbered 2-4. Oh, is Aizhao going to get knocked? He does. Nice grenade there from Rogi.
So many grenades that are just crashing down around these two teams. But look, speaking of crashes, look at this. We got 4AM and a Freak. Freak's taking a couple of pot shots back and forth at each other. Indian's holding the outside angle for it. But on the other side of it, you can see it's still a continuation. We've got Crystal Luster and Crusaders just going back and forth. The distraction on both of these fights has allowed no real third parties to come into play, but a Freak's Fatal just gets eliminated, but does a lot of damage over to 4AM.
Yeah, 4AM down to 2 members, but they do pick up 5 kills so far here. So 4AM, once again, doing a nice job getting some kills. Now, there's still 14 teams left, so it's going to be very difficult for them with 2 members left to get into the placement points, but we'll see how that goes.
And look at Shoot to Kill. They were posted up. They were looking into both of those fights and third partying into both of them. So going to get had a little bit of a down onto one of the Crusader members inside of that. 17's kind of separated out across it, but up towards the north, you can see it's Cloud9 and Team Liquid. I know this is going to get chat a little bit riled up as they're looking back and forth at each other. You got James up on the top part of this hill. Profi way off in the distance, providing a little bit of support. Lobes, the front man, right in the face of Liquid right now. K-Mine's trying to get a grenade up and around. It's not going to quite connect with James as he retreats out and away from it.
Yeah, 2 of our best teams so far today, duking it out there on the northern edge, moving over to 17, who has been very strong today as well. And still, the other members of CLOK have closed in on this and are backing up their teammates here in this fight against the Crusaders. So nice job by the other members of CL to get in their circle going a little bit southeastern, circled around AHQ, who had a nice second place finish this round.
James getting down as he goes for the peek back over onto it. Lobes taking a little bit of damage off the grenades. Team Liquid taking a lot of damage right now. James still just trying to protect him. As on the other side of this angle, it's just Cloud9 coming in from so many different approaches. That's a down on both sides of it. You can see Profi looking back over. Last member stuck and alive for just trying to make his way back over towards that hill. So he does manage to at least use the tree for some form of call. I should say cactus for some form of cover. But OP Rangers also has a shot on the other side of it. And Profi narrowly makes it away until Mental just takes him down. And so with that, Cloud9 is eliminated in 14th place.
Yeah, C9 just surrounded there by Team Liquid, forced out. Profi doing everything he could to dance, dip, duck, dive out of the way, but he runs another team. 17, though, in a fight with 4AM, and they will wipe them out in 13th place.
They just pushed back down the hillside. Remember, there were only 2 members up and alive for 4 Angry Men, so just 2 Angry Men whenever the approach came. Brazilian Crusaders somehow staying alive. So much utility is being used between Brazilian Crusaders and Crystal Luster right now that, like, we've seen grenades, smokes, everything else like that. If they have to move from the spot, I don't think they have anything left to do it with. But we got Armory Gaming taking a couple of shots back over towards Team Liquid. Abisa taking a little bit of damage, so going to go ahead and retreat back over that. But General does go down inside of the exchange, so slowly and steadily making their way towards this new circle.
Yeah, Abisa just healing up. That's pretty much a dead General there. He might not be able to come back from that. Tong looking to put some members, put some shots up onto Shocks here, who's up on the hill. He's got that M24 there. Oh, he fell. Did he get a headshot up there? Are you kidding?
The tire got taken out, I think, and caused it to pop forward. And oh no, you don't want to shoot your teammates. Got to be careful about that, Crystal Luster. Meanwhile, Shoot to Kill, we talked about it. They have sight lines on everything that's going on right now, and they can just shoot whatever moves next to him. CL still just trying to hold this angle as they get the down onto 2 based off of these pushes. I think it's just one last member up and alive, and yes, it's Raspu for Brazilian Crusaders. He's got to figure out how he's going to handle these angles as it's going to be long, pushing right up into his face. Raspu gets a little bit of damage off of it, but it's 3 members pushing back over towards Brazilian Crusaders, and there is nowhere for him to go.
Great job by CL there to capitalize on the fact that 17 tried to push into the Crusaders. The Crusaders a little distracted with that push, of course, and so CL capitalizing on that, sending 2 members in. Tong hangs back as the defensive player there, and they do a great job finally wiping the Crusaders out. The Crusaders props to them. They defended quite a long time in that tough position.
Oh, that's not what you want to see if you're an Ints fan over there. I think that they're hunkered down behind vehicles right on the edge of the circle. A lot of teams looking back over towards them. OP Rangers now looking back over towards Liquid. New circle is about to pop. And where are we going to end up going? I'm waiting with bated breath here, and there we go. We can see it's going to be shoot to kill just barely inside of it. Crystal Luster's going to have to move back over towards their warehouse, but Team Liquid does have a little bit of a hill that they can play. Really, it's OP Rangers, Envy, MP5, the last remaining member. Somehow Ronan managed to survive. Remember, he was way out in the blue. He managed to make his way over here, and we got Ints that's going to have to move. Looks like they might be thinking about going over where shoot to kill is at least trying to figure out where the angles that they might be able to pass from.
Right, Ents here is maybe going to have to push their way through SDK to do this. You know, it's going to be tough for them to do that, though. SDK has a nice little compound up on a hill there. Team Liquid has to throw down some smokes because they did get a knock from the OP Gaming Rangers a few minutes ago, and now they look to be back up to full strength here. 5 kills already for Team Liquid. We're trying to look over that hill to CL. OP Gaming Rangers trying to push forward, trying to find their way into the circle. They're a little bit outside of it now. Envy as well is going to have to face a similar proposition.
Now here's the problem. We have a couple of building complexes right on the edge of the circle. That's where Shoot to Kill and Crystal Luster are at. And that's where everybody is kind of looking. You have to assume that, okay, we know that there are people inside of these specific positions. So Team Liquid's trying to figure out how they want to make the approach, but with this, Envy is just trying to gun their way right inside the circle, catching a lot of air. Somehow managed to survive through that. Don't flip the vehicles. Nice driving coming out from, I believe, Taro. Meanwhile, Shoot to Kill is just raining grenades back over towards Ints as they're running through, and that's going to connect over with Mikas. Rustin Mar in a lot of trouble, but Envy has nowhere to really look for safety. They're just throwing down a ton of smokes as they have Team Liquid and OP Rangers just gunning for them.
Yeah, OP Rangers have the high ground on top of them. Tamaria getting in his vehicle, trying to rotate into the circle. Mental has gone to the left side, but some grenades possibly coming in here from Team Liquid. No, they're just shooting over onto OP Rangers. In fact, Ibiza gets a knock and a bobble. SDK has wiped out Ents in the meantime.
This is absolutely huge fight waiting to break out as OP Rangers is slowly making their way over towards the Team Liquid. Meanwhile, Envy is just hanging out right down in the middle of all of this, looking back up towards one angle where they can potentially see OP Rangers, but really there's no